Hey everyone, Cherie here. Today I'm going to be creating a layout using the March sketch over at Felicity Jane. I've actually created the sketch this month and I'm excited to get into this one. I've already got a bit of an idea of what I'm going to use and how I want the page to look. So I just thought I'd go through with you what I've got here. I'm using the Julia Kit from Felicity Jane. It's the March kit, and I've chosen the trellis paper from the kit. It's going to be my border, and I've also got the branding strip that I've already cut off of that paper. I'm going to use that on the page as well. I love this yellow. I've got the die cut shapes here. I've already picked out a few things that I think will suit my page today. The word create is what's inspiring what I'm scrapping about today, and I've got some little photos here of things that I've created, and that's what I'm going to be documenting. So my photos are roughly 1 3/4 inches square. I've also got the mini wide paper clips here, the chipboard buttons. I love these. I'll definitely be using at least one of those. I've got the Julia alphabet, love this color, and I'm going to use those along with that create word for my title. I'm also thinking of using a couple of phrases from the Julia stamp set. I love this stamp set, can't wait to get into that one. And I've got my journaling already printed as well. So to do that, I just printed it out onto normal printer paper, then I stuck my Felicity Jane white cardstock over the top with some washi to hold it in place and ran it through my printer again. So that is ready to go. Alright, so I think I'm ready to make a start. I did just want to say though, if you like this sketch and you want to have a go at it, we would love to see what you come up with as well. So make sure you share it with us on Instagram using hashtag #FJSketchChallenge, or you could share it on the Felicity Jane Facebook page as well. We would really love for you to join in the challenge, and it's always so fun to see what everyone comes up with. Make sure you check out the blog post as well for this month, because you'll see some other examples of how the creative team have used this sketch. It's always fun to see all the different takes on the same sketch. That's what I love about sketches. I've got my studio lights on today because it's very dull and rainy here, which is great because we need the rain, but not great for filming. So I've got the lights on and I'm ready to go. So I'll pop you on fast forward and get right into it. Okay, so I have cut the center out of that trellis paper. That'll be my background border. I wanted to use the center piece for my photo panel, so just saving paper and getting the best use out of that paper as I can. So I'm just going to center my white cardstock onto that background trellis paper. My white cardstock is cut to 11 by 11 inches, just making sure it's nice and centered. And now I can go ahead and start placing my photo panels and title on the page, just to work out my spacing to make sure I've got enough room to fit everything on here. So I've got my title down the bottom, and I do want a label at the bottom as well, just like in that sketch. So I can now start sticking these things into place. So I'm going to stick this first one down, then grab my ruler to make sure that's centered before I stick the rest down. Okay, so they're now stuck into place. I'm going to grab my sewing machine and add stitching around the white border and onto each photo panel as well. So behind each of my photos, I've got some foam tape to add some dimension, and I'm also just adding one of those green mini wide paper clips to the top of each photo. My journaling is being cut out, ready to place on the page. So I'm just going to work out the placement for each of these journaling strips, and I'm going to stick those into place and then add some stitching to those. So I'm not actually going to stick the photo down. You can see me peeling the backing off here, but I decide that I'm going to add stitching before I stick those photos on. So I'll go ahead and keep adding those journaling pieces onto each photo panel, and then I can go ahead and add the stitching. So the stitching is now done, and I'm adding my photos onto the page, and I'm loving the dimension the foam tape gives behind each of those photos. So now is the fun bit, the embellishing. I always love adding the embellishments. So I've got that cute rainbow that I want to go in that top panel. I've got that floral piece for the bottom panel, and in the middle I'm going to use some little hearts and one of those chipboard buttons you'll see shortly. Just added another little tag piece to that bottom little cluster that says work in progress. At the top there I've got that rainbow with some foam behind it to add dimension. Just added that happy chipboard button, love that green, and then I'm just layering some of those hearts on top, also with some foam adhesive. Now to go up near the rainbow, I decided to add a stamped label. So this is the Essentials Label Stickers #1. I think these were with the Catherine kit. I've just got a stamp from the Julia stamp set here. I think it says this is happiness. So just making sure it's nice and straight on my Misty door before I stamp directly onto the label. I will do a test stamp onto some cardstock first, just to make sure there's not too much ink. It was looking a little bit inky. So little test stamp, looking okay. So now I'm going to go directly onto that label, and it fits perfectly onto this label, which I was really happy about. Alright, so clean off my stamp. Now I can go ahead and add my label just tucked underneath that rainbow. It does sort of jut out a little bit to the left, but I'm totally fine with it. I'm just going to roll with it. Okay, so now that those are in place, I'm going to add my title down the bottom here, that Create die cut, which I love. Really fun font in all the colors. And then I've got my all the things that I'm going to add once I've added stitching across the Create word. So I've just stitched across the Create word, and now I'm just using my T-square ruler to add my letter stickers into place. Okay, so they're done. I did use one of the little puffy yellow hearts for the dotted eye there, which I thought was a bit cute. Now I've got my date label. Oh, actually, no, I'm going to stamp another little phrase from the stamp set, and it says, "It's my thing," because creating is my thing. I thought that was appropriate. Now I'm going to add the date, and I'm going to stamp directly onto one of the labels from the die cut pack. But as you'll see, I didn't check that the year was correct. So this is where I realized, oh, I've made a mistake. And I'm just going to stamp it onto some cardstock and stick it directly over the top, which is something I do often anyway. I love the look of the different layers onto a label, so totally fine with doing that. So there you go, just adding that on, and now I can add my date label to the bottom of the page. And I will add some stitching to that as well. Okay, so that is done. To finish off, I'm going to add some of these epoxy dot stickers. Just going to add 3 to each of the little embellishment clusters. So you can see here, I'm just using different sizes and different colors in each cluster. Just using my tweezers to get those into place. And just one more larger one just to tuck under the edge of that rainbow, and I'll go ahead and do the rest of those too. Okay, so I'll give you a closer look at how this has turned out. Really happy with this layout, and you can see the stitching there, the little epoxy dot stickers. There's a twine on that work in progress tag, and you can see the stitching down the bottom there as well. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing how I've put this layout together today using the March Felicity Jane sketch. I hope you'll give this sketch a try. Check out the blog post to see what the other creative team members have created, and I hope to see what you've created very soon, either on Instagram or on the Facebook page. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you again soon with another project. Bye for now.